This is Believe in Buckeyes. I'm Brian Browning with All-American quarterback Chimdi Chekwai. This show is brought to you by Bet Online. Chim, tell the people about Bet Online.
So Bet Online is your number one source for everything football. You have preseason NFL. You got college starting, right? College kickoff. If you think you know your stuff when it comes to betting, there's a $300,000 NFL survival pool for this upcoming season. When the game is over, you can go to the casino. You can play a game of blackjack, poker, unwind, play 150 slot games. You know, there's a promo code, BLEAV, BLEAV. Use that promo code to get in on the action. Bet Online is where the game starts.
And if you have any issues with gambling, always feel free to reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER. They're 24/7 to help you out with anything you may need in that category. But yeah, I'm feeling good, man. We need the music, man. We need some music playing right now, man.
We gotta add some jams.
We do, man. About a week from now, I think we'll have DJ Corey Grand on the show, hopefully, man. Maybe he could drop us some tunes, man. But I'm feeling great because it is game week, man. You need some explosions or something going off. We finally made it. We have made it to game week. Our Buckeyes this Saturday is taking on the Akron Zips out of Akron, Ohio. Chim, how you feeling out there? Are you feeling as pumped up as me? Or, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I mean, it feels great. It's like, it's been, I feel like this time it's gone by quick, but it still has been a little bit long, a little bit of anticipation for me, especially with this roster that we have. We've seen Urban Meyer talking about it again. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but Urban talking about this team may be one of the best college football rosters that he's ever seen put together. So now, with that type of expectation you put on the team, now it's time to put it into action. The Akron Zips, maybe one of the worst college football rosters, at least this year, man. They have not performed well the last couple of years. I don't think they have turned the corner yet. So this is one of those games where we all expect a blowout. I think the spread might be like 50 points.
Yeah, I think it's like 49, something crazy.
Yeah, and you still might need to go take the over in this one, which sounds crazy. But I'm really anticipating and looking forward to seeing that offense in action and to really see what has changed from last year and really start to get a feel for what this team is going to look like now and moving forward into the season.
Yep. And real quick on the Akron Zips, they're led by head coach Joe Moorhead. Funny enough, he actually was the offensive coordinator for my brother at Georgetown back in the day, some 20-some years ago, back when he was working in, I guess, a little bit smaller ball. But yeah, Akron Zips I think they had a record of 2-10 last season. So like you stated, they haven't been winning much. Look like on offense, they only average about 16 points a game. I guess the defense is a little better. We should expect that defense to be a little bit better than the offense. But this is Ohio State's first, I'm going to say it's like their first scrimmage, right? They kind of get to go out there and do it live against some other individuals. And obviously we expect them to win that game by a lot of points. But I guess a little bit more specific, what are you looking to see out of this Ohio State team as they go out there on Saturday and kick off that season?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is like a preseason game. And, you still want to see some improvement, right? Whoever this team was when they started camp, you want to see a better team go out there for this first game. And then next week, you want to continue to see some of that improvement. What I'm specifically looking for, and I'm really contrasting this, around this time last year, is I want to see an offense that feels like it's in sync, that can move the ball. And I really want to see a dominant run game. It's the first thing I want to see. That's what I'm really anticipating. Dominant run game from three different individuals, both running backs, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, and the quarterback. I want to see kind of what Ryan Day has said he's been looking to add to this offense, what Chip Kelly has talked about, and Will Howard being able to make something happen with his feet. And I just want to see that offense roll. I also, I want to see that quarterback in action. I want to see him making the good decisions, being accurate with the ball, and maybe one or two deep passes here and there just to see it, right? I haven't seen a lot of it from Will Howard, just to see it. And I expect a lot from the defense. I don't expect much from Akron offensively, but I do want to, see a lot of pressure on that quarterback. And really, this is step one to building that championship year. And I want to see everybody aligned. This is a veteran team, right? This is a veteran team. This is a team that should be prepared and ready to go and shouldn't take this team for granted. So that's what I want to see coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and I guess second all those things. I want to see Will Howard go out there and prove why he's the starter, right? Why did he win the job? Make this look easy. We're not anticipating that Ohio State would face much resistance on Saturday, right? So we should kind of see them kind of just execute, right? Doing the right things, making the right decisions, playing clean, keep the ball off the ground, no turnovers, things of that nature, and just kind of, get right to it. Defensively, go out there, shut them down. I would say this, though. The Akron Zips had their own quarterback competition this offseason. It was rumored. Now, I don't know how true it is. I don't know if Coach made it on campus or he did an interview or what, but it was rumored that Coach Joe Moorhead was in contention at potentially taking over to be Ohio State offensive coordinator, obviously before some of the bigger names start rolling in, the Bill O'Brien, Chip Kelly, things of that nature, end up taking that position. So Coach Moorhead got that position because he knows offense, right? That's supposed to be, his niche in the football world. So maybe they could kind of come out there and show them something. I'm not anticipating that. But the thing I would like to see is our starters play maybe a half, right? Play that first half, run up the score, look good and feel comfortable. But I really want to see some backups. I want to see some backup offensive linemen get in there, get some real live game reps, and especially at that quarterback position. As we know, it's essentially national championship or bust. The other guys that's on our roster regarding quarterbacks, you're looking at Julian Sayin, Devin Brown, Lincoln Klingholz. Those guys are, they guys was brought in to play some football as well. And I wanted this to be an opportunity for them to kind of go out there and show what they could do. Obviously, it's football. Anybody could go down at any time, but we don't want the season kind of going down if something was to happen to the QB1 and Will Howard. So I want to see those guys get some loud reps. And I want to see them play well. If there was an actual quarterback competition, right? Devin Brown should be able to kind of step out there and lead that offense and look pretty clean doing it as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a slow start. I think last year, a lot of the games, whether it was a good team or a bad team, we saw a lot of slow starts, primarily on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't expect that this year, and I don't want to see that. I want to see guys who know what they're doing, guys playing fast, guys being aggressive. It's the first game of the season, the first opportunity to hit somebody that doesn't wear the same color jersey as you do. So everybody should be excited and pumped up and ready to go. I mean, from a talent standpoint and an experience standpoint, they should be prepared to play. So I'm expecting them to jump on Akron really soon, really early, and have good flow on offense and a lot of attack on defense. And then those starters come out, and you get some of those second guys who are still high level players, right?
Yes, right.
So there shouldn't be much of a drop off in that regard. It would be great to be able to use these first few games, you got Akron, you got Western Michigan, Marshall, like these first few games, this should be an opportunity to get some of those younger quarterbacks some experience. Chip Kelly was asked about that in the press conference. Like, do you foresee being able to, play some of the second string, third string quarterbacks so that they gain some experience? And he was like, well, you never know how the game's going to go. So you like to, but if it's a dogfight, you got to keep the guys in. So you don't even really think about it until you get to that position. But when you play Akron, you should be able to get those second and third guys in and get some snaps, because those are key snaps. And you think about it, and this year being different than any other year with a college football playoff, the chances or the likelihood that you need one of those guys to step in for a game, for a few games, or lead the team moving forward, they go up significantly with more games potentially to be played. So I expect a lot of those guys. The linebacker position is another position, where you have a lot of guys who are younger, have a lot of talent, but don't have a lot of snaps at that position. I would love to see at least two deep of linebackers being able to get on the field, play, get some meaningful reps against a team that I really expect that at halftime the game to be completely in Ohio State's control. So we'll see how that plays out.
We got to call it out. Now, this is the Akron Zips, right? And we know this is a school in Ohio. Looking at the record, Ohio State hasn't lost a game to another Ohio school in 103 years. In 1921, they lost to Oberlin College 7-6. So it's been a while since we lost to Ohio Oberlin College. But we'll say this, obviously, we got to bring it up, because if not, we wouldn't be doing a good job here. It's Ohio school, right? So they're going to come in to Ohio Stadium. Maybe a lot of those guys are from Ohio, probably, right? And they've been waiting their whole life for opportunity to play against Ohio State. Some of the guys probably dream was to play at Ohio State. So they're going to come in and give it their best shot for sure. So, but yeah, looking around college football, obviously we had technically week 0 this past week, and we already started off with a huge upset, right? Florida State going down to Georgia Tech over, I think they was playing somewhere in Europe or something like that.
Yeah,
But we had College Game Day. Ireland. Yeah, that's interesting. But it looked like
what do you think about that? Like week 1 going and playing a conference game in Ireland.
I just, I always kind of question the connection, right? Like, like why Florida State and Georgia Tech? Like, why are they going to play in Ireland? Like, now sometimes like you'll see like, I don't know, if you got like a Notre Dame, that's a Catholic school, and you're like, okay, well that kind of seems like some type of connection with the Catholic school and things of that nature. You might have some fans, but I don't know. I'm sure hopefully it's some history or somebody could tell me something, but it looked like it was a good turnout. Like the stadium was, was pretty packed. I don't know if it's just a bunch of fans from the states traveling over just to watch their team play in Ireland, or a bunch of locals, but I just don't. I guess I'm a little naive on the situation on why these two teams are playing across in Ireland. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't even understand. Like, so even playing a conference game week 1, like I don't in the playoff era, in the new playoff era, right? I don't see the point. I mean, there's enough teams to go around, enough tough matchups that you're gonna have during the season. If you make a playoff, there's a bunch of other teams that are gonna be really good teams that you're gonna have to play. Why start off the year putting yourself in a position where if you just have, one bad game early on, you're just out of sync to start. The offense just doesn't have it figured out quite yet. You end up losing to a conference team, and then you end up hurting your chances of really being able to win the championship and get a good seat in the playoffs. So I don't understand the decision, and I definitely don't understand doing that in another country. So yeah, that's
right. They're talking about a Florida State team with really high hopes, right? They got a transfer quarterback in DJ Ugalele, who's been playing college football for, I don't know, 6 years now, something crazy of that sort. This is on his third school. High hopes.
Him and CJ were in the same class, I think, coming into
college. So, and CJ's now year 2 in the NFL, lighting it up. But I mean, I don't know, man. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Don't know why I do it. A lot of questions there. Now Florida State will be playing. I'm not gonna say they're out of it, right? But they'll be playing catch up for the rest of the season for sure, losing to an unranked team early on.
Yeah, and they probably won't catch up. They just probably won't get there. So.
We'll see. It's early. But when we was talking about College Game Day, man, I mean, we was talking about College Game Day because we wanted to shout out one of our guys, man. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit, we know, is a former quarterback at Ohio State, and he's been doing College Game Day for, I don't know, a lot of years. But, I mean, obviously Ohio State has this stacked roster. It's pretty easy to say, like, if you're going to pick a team to win the national championship, you could easily say Ohio State. Yep. For whatever reason, he says, pick the big winner of the Big Ten. I think it'd be Ohio State. Who would be the national championship? I think it'd be Oregon. Like, what is that about? Like, why would he, in that position, not just kind of stand by his guys? I mean, you see Desmond Howard do it all the time. He always standing by his guys. Even when they're not in contention, he stand by those guys. What's up with Kirk, man? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Kirk almost does the opposite of what Desmond Howard does. Like, he goes out of his way not to pick Ohio State in many cases. I remember when we played, I think it was like 2 years, 2 years in a row they picked Penn State. And it baffles me because it's like we won the championship last year. We are the higher ranked team this year, and it's still Penn State, right? Like, I mean, they're going to compete. They're going to be up there, but, everybody else is going to pick Ohio State to win this. So, I don't know. It almost seems like he goes out of his way to be objective. But in this case, I mean, Oregon is it's not a bad choice in terms of, if you were to predict they win a national champion. But if you're already picking Ohio State to win the Big Ten championship, like, why would you pick Oregon? And now, to his credit, he mentioned two things. And, I mean, this may be even a bigger discussion, right? He mentioned Dan Lanning as a coach and Dylan Gabriel as a quarterback who he feels, I would assume he trusts to be able to make a run in the playoffs, right? Comparing that to Will Howard as Ohio State's quarterback and Ryan Day as Ohio State's coach. So I think to him, they have the edge in those categories and those leadership categories, be able to lead their team to a championship. So, I mean, it's interesting.
I don't like that, man.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to Oregon's Believe in Oregon podcast. If y'all go check them out.
Yeah.
And
Great show.
I asked about how they feel about Dan Lanning in comparison to Ryan Day. And to them, it just seemed like Ryan Day is ahead of Dan Lanning in terms of resume and everything, which to me was a little bit surprising on how dismissive they were of the question.
Yeah.
But it seems like national media, Kirk Herbstreit in particular, feel like Dan Lanning has the edge in that category, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I think a lot of Buckeye fans would feel the same way, only because we're too close to you're too close to Ohio State, and we scrutinize Ohio State a lot because of one thing in particular, and that's a few losses to Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, that's just don't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, they talk about Dan Lanning and the top team out west with Oregon is Washington. He never beat the Huskies, right?
So last year, Kirk Herbstreit and really everyone picked Washington to lose to Oregon during the season,
right?
And then coming back again in the championship game, they picked Oregon again.
Sure, Oregon's gonna win today, and they lose again. But somehow, Dan Lanning just got a persona that he's a better coach than Ryan Day. I don't agree with that at all. Obviously, Coach Day has lost to Michigan, right? Obviously, he been in some playoff situations. We haven't been able to win at all, but we was competitive. We was competitive as heck in those games. So I don't know, man. I like our coach. I like Coach Day. Obviously, Dan Lanning's doing a fantastic job with Oregon, the Ducks, and I imagine they have a great team. But I don't know, man. If you you was the quarterback, so I mean, he was the leader of the team, right? Kirk Herbstreit for several seasons here at Ohio State, so he has I don't know, man. Obviously, could this be work, right? It could be. I don't know how things work at ESPN. And stuff could be just read what's on the teleprompter. This is your opinion. I don't know. It don't feel that way, and I don't. Yeah, man.
He has a stand behind that. But this is an opportunity. Let's not miss this opportunity. Ohio State coaches, the team, right? Mm-hmm. One of our own, Kirk Herbstreit is picking Oregon to win this national championship. Okay, picking Oregon to win this national championship. Ohio State, we've heard two former coaches, Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, who have coached great teams or national championship coaches, that said this roster, as currently constructed, is as good as any roster that they've ever seen in college football. And there's a lot of people in national media that don't believe that y'all can get it done when it comes to predicting who's going to be a national champion. So, take that, put it on the bulletin board, continue to build towards, that final game. And I have full confidence in this team. I think, speaking to the Dan Lanning and Ryan Day comparison, and just Ryan Day compared to other coaches, I think this is I truly believe this is the year where Ryan Day kind of really figures it all out. I mean, he's been a really good coach up until this point, but he's had his growing pains being a first-time head coach at Ohio State, which is not the same as being a first-time head coach at Bowling Green and where, all these other places that coaches kind of move up the ranks. I think this year he's going to turn a corner because I can tell by the decisions that have been made, the way he talks now in the media, the way he answers certain questions, that he's just continued to learn from his past experiences. And I think the fruits of those experiences are going to show this season. That's why I'm so excited for this year. I think the staff is in place. I think the team is there. And as long as they stay focused, and I think things like this where guys like Herbstreit and others don't pick them to be the team that they are positioned to be, right, can help them maintain that focus and get it done this year.
Well, I mean, if you're Coach Day in this situation, right, obviously, eventually, I don't know what week, eventually College game day is going to come to campus, right? And then usually the head coach usually might spend a few moments out there. Do you feel a tad bit disrespected or slighted by, a Kirk Herbstreit who knows the roster, right? I mean, he got to know what the roster looks like around Ohio State.
Yeah.
But essentially, bringing up at other schools, almost saying I don't trust you. I think you're going to mess this up. I don't think you'll be able to hold this roster together and keep guys focused on the right thing to be able to be a national championship team. I mean, can't it easily go there if you're in that situation? In my opinion, you can get there pretty quickly. But I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, obviously, I might not have heard it, but I feel like Coach Day is always in tune to a little bit, what the noise is out. So
I think Coach Day probably feels slighted by a lot of individuals right now, and I think it's really the biggest slight is just the fan base here at Ohio State and the Kirk Herbstreit and others and former alumni. Because of losses to Michigan, he's been looked at in a certain way and talked about in a certain way. So I think for him, I think he's locked in. I think he's focused. I think all the outside noise, he doesn't really have time to even focus on this year, given that there's a real, there's a team up north that, it's a hump that he hasn't been able to get over the past few years. And I think he's ultra locked in this year to make sure that what's happened the last 3 times doesn't happen again. And I don't think he really has time for a lot of the outside noise. But I do. You know what I'm saying? I do. So we'll talk about it.
I got time. Yeah. Speaking of that team up north, it's been it's official. They received a notice of allegations from the NCAA, which most likely means they have some type of concrete proof of some wrongdoing. Obviously, we all heard the stories, right? And I mean, to be honest, what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Yep. And it seems like that university up there has set a lot of things on fire when it comes to just really being credible and showing integrity when it comes to the sport of college football. What do you think about those notice of allegations? I think the documentary drops tomorrow, Conor Stalion, on Netflix. So So what's your thoughts on all of that and what's going on up there with the school?
Yeah, I mean, I think the NCAA wanted to get it done, get it, sent out there prior to this documentary coming out. But I mean, notice of allegations, there's going to be some type of penalty. I don't know if the penalty goes retroactively and they, get rid of games, they get rid of national championship. I don't know if they get to that point. That's a big decision. But I think, for the future, it's going to impact Michigan football. It's going to impact recruiting. It's going to impact whether or not they can compete for the playoffs, which they may not even be in position to compete anyway because of
probably not.
Because of
the play.
The play at the end of the day, right? So we'll see what happens retroactively. I'm really, really interested in this documentary. I know it's going to be a fluff piece. I know it's not really going to talk about what really happened. But I'm interested in the last, effort to spin the narrative. I really, and hearing directly from Conor Stalion himself. What were you doing on the Central Michigan sideline? I wonder if they ask him that. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be entertaining for me, if anything. But the notice of allegations, there's still a lot of time before, the final hammer drops or whatever it ends up being. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting time.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. Like I said, definitely be a fluff pit. I seen a little clip on it. And then just real quick on this clip, I seen a clip of circulating online, and Conor Stalion is talking about how he locked himself in his room and he looked at every signal in college football and he printed it out and he made the signal. So he's about to kind of go on the camera and say I just memorized every signal in college football. So when I looked at the other sideline, I had a good idea of what they were gonna run, which is really, really utter
genius.
nonsense.
They had a signal genius on their sideline, man.
Yeah.
Now he's coaching. Now he's coaching high school football, so he's gonna have all the signals in high school. Y'all watch out there in Michigan.
Watch out. It'll be tough to score on that defense, that's for sure. Yeah, but anyway, man, we want to end the show on a good note, man. So I seen something, and be honest, Frank, I never seen this before. Our Buckeyes being led by a senior tight end G. Scott Jr. and captain running back Trevion Henderson held an event on campus where essentially they went on stage and they spoke about their faith, about them being God-fearing man. And it looked like they had thousands of student athletes out on campus, and they was baptizing kids on spot. I mean, huge. I mean, me and you both are men of faith. What do you think about? I mean, really, in general, just that in general. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, that's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that outside of football, for these individuals to lead students, a lot of people, and really through a life-changing experience. So I commend these guys a lot, because how much time, effort, focus the football side takes. And being able to continue to take that, and these guys are leaders on the field already, right? And be able to take that same type of leadership and something that's so important to people's lives and their individual lives. It's going to be a lesson and something that helps them develop, and something that they're going to carry for the rest of their lives. So I commend them. It was amazing to see. Shout out to those guys, and I'm excited for this team, because these individuals on this Ohio State football team, the group last year as well, and the group before that, I mean, these are just some good people, right? This is when you have those type of losses to Michigan or whatever, and there's good people on the other sides too, but when you see those guys hurting, it hurts me because these are some good people. So I'm excited for them to be able to start this season and continue to build and do everything that they want is in front of them, man. And this is the right group to carry this team through this year.
That's for sure. And that's our show for today. Please follow us on all platforms: YouTube, Apple, Spotify. We're ready to kick off the season, so we're gonna be popping in. I know we were gonna do a show next week, but we might pop up tomorrow. We might pop up back to the game. So just tune in, catch us on Believe in Buckeyes, and we'll be sure to bring you the news around Ohio State. And we're gonna end this show as always with a
Ayo.
Go Bucks. Talk to you soon.
Go Bucks.